Gregory Peck eventually speaks up. The birth of Gregory Peck on Charlton H on April 5, 1916. Eldred Gregory Peck was born in the coastal town of La Jolla, California, San Diego neighborhood that would always hold a special place in his heart. His early life was characterized by emotional turmoil. His parents split up when he was Gregory, who was only 6 years old, was later brought up mostly by him. In spite of the unpredictability of in his early years, he was taught a strong sense of discipline and morals, characteristics that would eventually determine his most well-known movie roles as well as his actual persona. Following a Catholic military school, and then San Diego State, Peck moved from Teachers College to the Berkeley University of California, where he first pursued his medical studies. But his participation in the theater group at the university started enthusiasm for performing that changed forever throughout his life. Peck created his 1942 Broadway debut, and he has already established himself as a prominent figure in the heyday of Hollywood off-motion pictures. His towering stature, magnificent features, a rich voice with distinct dignity, Peck rapid, a reputation as a sober, sophisticated performer. He entered the movie business at a time when the world got caught up in the turmoil of World War III, and his personas frequently represented the moral clarity and calm strength for viewers desired in a time of uncertainty. His role in the film The Keys of 1944 in the Kingdom won him his first Academy Award nomination, an indication of the persistent he would provide perfection to the silver screen for the following 50 years. The most well-known role for Gregory Peck when he played Advocacy Finch in 1962, the movie To Kill a Mockingbird, a patient of the Pulitzer Prize by Harper Lee novel that won a prize. The persona, a morally upright, caring tiny town an attorney who incorrectly defends a black man accused in the segregated South of rape, will turn into the last moral American cinema's compass. Computer spurforms infused with serene poignant gravity earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor and solidified his reputation in movie history. Additional, Advocacy Finch went beyond a function to become a cultural emblem of fairness, compassion, and human morality. Peck himself also stated that was the position of which he was most proud. In the American Film Institute announced in 2003 that Finch is the best film hero of all time, 20th century. A tribute not only tough character but the strong representation throughout his lengthy career. Gregory Peck starred in a variety of movies, including war dramas like 12 O'Clock, from romantic to high 1949 experiences like the 1953 Roman Holiday, in addition to Audrey Hepburn. Epic dramas from the past, such as The Guns of Captain Horatio and Navarre in 1961, Hornblower, 1951. His adaptability and only the moral could equal the actor. He approached every part with conviction. Peck frequently selected roles that matched his values, creating hyperbole for substance. His depictions were never only acts, they were statements of an intensely felt humanism that struck a chord with viewers worldwide. In addition to his work in cinema, Gregory Peck was an ardent advocate and humanitarian, a lifetime supporter of civil rights. He was a staunch advocate of Martin Luther King Jr. and participated in the National Council for the Arts under Johnson President Lyndon B. Additionally, he voiced opposition to the anti-communists during the McCarthy era, blacklisting, standing up while many in Hollywood didn't want to do it. He did not use his popularity for personal gain, but to promote worthy causes and protect the honor of people without a voice. Peck received many honors. He was awarded 5 Academy nominations for the Best Actor Award and was the Jean Herschel Humanitarian Award, 1968 award for his charitable endeavors in 1999. The American movie, he came in at number 12 on the Institute's list of the top male celebrities of vintage Hollywood films. Additionally, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of in 1969, Freedom, one of the UNITED top civilian distinctions in the state, which acknowledged not only his artistic contributions but his lasting dedication to social justice and equality. In October 1942, Gregory Peck made his debut appearance in union with a Finnish woman named Greta Kushinannuno Nuobe Uno, born American woman who lived up until 2008, and major chapter was marked by their union. In Peck's early adulthood, which coincided with the start of his developing a career in Hollywood. Greta, is arriving from a background of Finnish immigrants, was known to be a sensible and encouraging companion in the early stages when Peck was becoming known as a serious actor. As their marriage progressed, the 3 sons of the couple, each of whom has a special part in Peck's personal narrative. Jonathan, their eldest son, was born in 1946 after being born in 1944 and 1949, along with Carrie Paul. Every youngster stood for a distinct stage in Peck's family, work and life, was a crucial component of his world offscreen. But after moreover 10 years of marriage, the Gregory Peck's friendship with the end of Greta. December 1955, their formal divorce, which marked the conclusion of an important phase in Peck's existence. The breakdown of their marriage was a significant event that not only for the pair, as well as for their children, when the dynamics of the family changed. Unfortunately, Peck's oldest Jonathan, his son, would subsequently be discovered dead on June 26, 1975, at home. At the time, authorities thought that he committed suicide, which was a tragic incident that had a significant impact on PC. Considering this terrible loss, as Peck once remarked, "It's the most awful something that has occurred in my life," exposing the intense suffering that even years later overshadowed him. Freely acknowledged the long-term effects of saying you never get back what you've lost. Regarding something like that, which relates to the persistent sorrow that characterized his individual experience outside of his public persona. Over the course of his initial Gregory Peck also had a brief marriage yet passionate relationship with his co-star Ingrid Bergman during the classic's filming, a 1945 film. This partnership remained comparatively during his lifetime. He was private, but after disclosed in an interview with Brad in 1987, Derek from People, Peck explained openly discussing the affair, but with a feeling of discipline and deference, stating, "All I can state is that I truly loved her, so I believe that's where I should stop." He clarified that he and young Bergman was enmeshed in their requirements of their profession, saying we were closely involved for weeks and rigorous labor, implying that the onset professional intimacy changed into an intimate relationship. In spite of the intensity of this emotion, PC appeared to present the relationship as a youthful encounter, suggesting that it continued to be a significant although constrainment in his life. Not long after his Greta's divorce was finalized, Gregory Peck started a fresh phase in his passionate existence. The eve of the new year in 1955, only one day following the court adjournment of his Peck's first marriage was to Véronique Pisani, a news reporter from France, was born in 1932, the person who would be his everlasting companion. Their first meeting in 1952, a few years prior, when Peck was interviewed by Véronique before His departed for Italy to shoot the classic Roman Vacation. The seeds were sown at this conference of a partnership that might grow over time. 6 months following the initial meeting, Peck extended an invitation to lunch, an invitation that signaled the start of a strong and unbreakable connection between TTB. Their bond immediately grew stronger, based not just on romance but also on a mutual comprehension of the requirements of entertainment and public life sector. Gregory Peck and Véronique Pisani had a son and 2 children. Anthony Peck, who was born in 1956, and Cecilia Peck, a daughter, was born in 1958. They were married for many years, serving as evidence of unwavering devotion and collaboration despite the numerous changes and difficulties that PC has faced over the years. Véronique was frequently characterized as a stabilizing impact on Peck and providing assistance to him in his career and private life. They continued to be dedicated. Strong with Véronique till PC's Pasingas, his closest confidant, by his side. Interestingly, Anthony Peck, their side, was also married to Cheryl Tees, a supermodel, linking the Peck family to a different aspect of popular culture in the United States. The heritage of Gregory PC's family grew along with grandchildren from both his weddings, preserving the family tree. One of the most reputable and hot of his offspring, his Jonathan's grandson Ethan Peck, has carried on his grandfather's legacy, establishing his own acting career, therefore carrying on the Peck family's participation in the arts across. For many years, admirers of vintage Hollywood movies frequently conjectured about connection between two of its biggest recognizable and respectable leading males. Charlton H. and Gregory Peck, both actors, became a symbol of power, moral clarity, as well as a strong presence on screen. But in spite of their sporadic overlap in movie circles and comparable people on film, the characteristics of their relationships on a personal and professional level stayed mostly undiscovered. Peck, Gregory, who is renowned for his elegance and diplomata, having never made a public appearance in depth around H at the height of their professions. However, in a rare and eagerly anticipated, Peck eventually broke his silence for a moment and provided considerate, honest thoughts about the man who had in numerous ways been a modern as well as actor. Contrast Peck, who is renowned for portraying upright figures such as Advocacy, Finch, frequently in agreement, and To Kill a Mockingbird, Dimsby, in support of liberal causes and progressive principles, such as robust support for gun control, civil rights, and as well as philanthropic endeavors. However, Hornhan, despite having been a Democrat and civil rights advocate in the 1960s, becoming more conservative in their political views gradually and ultimately functioned as the National Rifle President affiliation. This difference in philosophy had resulted in rumors of conflict or philosophical between the two, particularly in politically sensitive decades such as when Hollywood was in the 1970s and 1980s, sharply split on a number of subjects. As soon as Peck ultimately decided to discuss Charlton H. It wasn't out of rage or resentment, but in a dignified and nuanced manner. He started with Charlton in an interview from the 1990s, when questioned directly with their connection, was a man of exception. We weren't constantly in agreement. Particularly in relation to politics, but I have consistently valued his feeling of direction and the genuineness with which he carried his convictions. Take a look. Explained that although they weren't companions in a personal context, they frequently met at work. Occasions, altruistic activities, and academy rituals, always welcoming on neither with respect for their profession. Computer was especially positive about H's imposing appearance on film. Their Charlton undoubtedly possessed a special kind of majesty. When he stood, PC stated he became something before a camera. Greater than life. That isn't something you're a teacher. It came naturally to him. Was he Moses who parted the Red Sea, or the roaring of Ben-Hur through a rope? PC acknowledged admiring H's commitment to physical roles and epics from history, genres that H assisted in the 1950s and 1960s define. He was sapient about their differences as well. We originated from several philosophical traditions. Peck thought, I was more attracted to internal personalities, to ethical dilemmas that took place during peaceful times. The Charlton preferred large, epic topics, biblical specular gestures, and high stakes. However, ultimately, we were both engaged in the same activity, attempting to respect the reality of the characters that we portrayed. In what possibly is most moving remark, Peck recognized H's human side, which many were never able to see, staying away from Thelamalite. Charlton had a sharp mind, knowledgeable and devoted to his. You might not concur with every one of them. Of course I didn't. However, you couldn't doubt his moral character. In addition, Toya valued as time passed and both guys reached the end of their professional lives. When talking about HPC maintained his grace. When the subject came up once more during a celebration of the late 1990s, Puckled in response, okay, Chuck and I were situated on opposing sides of the feud arguments, but we both adored films. That was always what we had in common. The ground breaking his silence, Gregory Peck provided more than simply information about a fellow performer. He displayed the elegancy and insight which characterized his own legacy. He's shown that respect and conflicts can coexist, and even in a divided world, respect for one another is still feasible. His remarks added a considerate and sympathetic addition to the Charlton HSE public persona, shedding light not just H's personality, but also the silent, unwavering morality of Gregory Peck himself. June 12, 2003, The Globe said goodbye to one of their most revered and adored individuals in Gregory Peck, the history of Hollywood. He passed away quietly while sleeping at 87 years old. Broncho is the cause. Pneumonia, an illness that impacts lungs and can pose a special risk for senior citizens. He passed away at his residence in California's Los Angeles city that served as the background and the basis for his illustrious career in television and movies. Next to him in his last moments was his loyal wife, French-born Varane Pisani Peck, philanthropist and journalist that Heggett married in 1955. Their marriage of almost 50 years had been characterized by genuine respect for one another, love, and a mutual dedication to charitable purposes. Her attendance at his side served as a moving representation of their lasting relationship and evidence of this respectable love that had established her shared life. After his Gregory Peck was buried after passing away, as appropriate for a man of his prominence, heritage, and cultural influence. His body was buried in the Cathedral of Our Lady's Tomb of the Angels in Los Angeles downtown, a magnificent and contemporary Roman Catholic cathedral that acts as the Mother Los Angeles's archdiocese. The mausoleum in the cathedral is its last resting place of numerous famous figures, but only a small number of them had the film's legacy or moral gravitas of Peck. His positioning there highlighted, in addition to his Catholic beliefs, but also superior standing as a moral guide in the history of American cinema. Among the most poignant scenes from PC's burial were the eulogy that Brock Peters gave. The well-known African-American performer who had portrayed the black man Tom Robinson, wrongfully charged with the rape of a white woman, in To Kill a Mockingbird, released in 1960. In that movie, which is still a soaring American film classic, Gregory Peck represented Advocacy Finch, the morally upright and attorney from the South who represented Robinson in a severely unfair and separated society. Their romance on film had left a profound emotional impact on viewers, and their friendship off-screen lasted 4 decades. Peter's sincere remarks during the eulogy paid tribute to Peck's outstanding career, but it also brought attention to the man's steadfast dedication to fairness, respect, and empathy. Characteristics had contributed to Advocacy Finch's strong individual, and that closely reflected in real life the character of the Peck. Peter gave a eulogy that was incredibly meant of symbolism, connecting life and art, movie and actuality. The actual funeral was an event attended by celebrities, a reflection of Gregory Peck's extensive impact spanning several generations of filmmakers, performers, musicians as well as cultural leaders. Among the many notable people present were the legendary actress Lauren Beale and Humphrey Bogart's widow, who had long appreciated Peck's understated elegance and robustness. On the screen, Portier, Sidney, the innovative African-American performer and supporter of civil rights, was there to pay respect to his peer and buddy, the vocalist, and Harry Belafonte, an actor with Cher Belafonte's daughter, added his attendance at an event that was as prominent as it was varied. Additionally, there were well-known Hollywood celebrities present, from both the ancient and modern periods. Harrison Ford, well known around the world for his parts in Indiana Jones and Star Wars, and the actress who was his then Flockhart, an actor on television, and Mash Vamoose, activist Mike Farrell, and the long-lived Shelley Fabarisa, career in movies and television. Performer Jimmy Smiths, well known for his NYPD work The West Wing and Blue, arrived to make history, and is just like the French-American actor, glamorous actresses, and Louis Jordan, Cannon Diane, and Zimbla Stephanie. Michael York is a British actor, best known for Logan's Run and Cabaret, were also among people who are grieving. Additionally, the occasion attracted famous people from the music industry and entertainment, such as pop stars, for a long time. Michael Jackson had admired Peck for his performance as well as for his work in humanitarianism. Angelica, an actress, soul legend Lionel Richie Houston, an actress Louise Fletcher, an Oscar winner, was among those who came to honor him. Completing the varied and profoundly Piper and Tony Danza were the polite group. Lurie and Larry Galba, the screenwriter. Each of them stands for a distinct aspect of the entertainment sector. All of them together in recognition of a man who had arrived at present honesty in both his personal and professional lives. That Gregory Peck's funeral wasn't merely intimate farewell. It was a time of popular interest, of contemplation regarding a life that had significantly influenced American society. His own era came to an end with passing Booth's reputation as a master actor, a morally upright individual, and a silent supporter of human rights are still relevant between generations.